Well, on the line with me, visiting with the Social Network, Curtis Axel, Intercontinental Champion, coming to town right here in Philly, October 13th, Wells Fargo Center, ComcastTIX.com. Tickets start as low as $20. It's going to be a great show. You're taking on a CM Punk no DQ match. First of all, hello, Curtis. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing phenomenal today. And second of all, what's going to happen to CM Punk no DQ match for the IC title? Let us know. Let's get right to it here.
Dude. Anything can happen in a no disqualification match. You know, you have ladders, you got tables, you got chairs, you got those dang kendo sticks that sting like crazy. You know, so anything goes. You know, I have Paul Heyman by my side out there, so he could get involved. You know, we got some tricks up our sleeve, and I'm getting sick and tired of this CM Punk. He's what his name says he is. He's a punk, so I'm gonna take care of him.
That's what Curtis Axel does. I like to hear that. Well, now you say you're with Paul Heyman, and I wonder, you've been around the industry your entire life, and you've seen Paulie dangerously. You've seen Paul Heyman's ascent. He just keeps climbing up in the wrestling industry. What were your thoughts on Paul Heyman before you started working with him? Any preconceived notions of him, or?
I was always a big fan of his. He was obnoxious, and I grew up with my dad being a bad guy, so I always loved the bad guys. You know, and I loved watching Paul. I didn't get to watch too much of him because I was up north in Minnesota, and we didn't get all the circuits that he ran. So I read about him in magazines most of the time, but I didn't get a chance to meet him actually until he came back to represent CM Punk, and I would sit down with him, and as I got to know him better and better, he would give me advice. And this is before I was a Paul Heyman guy. So he would give me advice and all this stuff, and took a liking to me, and that eventually became a friendship. And now he's helped me along the way, giving me some advice still, and we've developed a friendship now where we'll ride up and down the road together and stuff like that, and I get to hear his stories. But it's great, man. I couldn't ask for anything better, and I mean, look at where he comes from and what he has done to all the other Paul Heyman guys in the past, and where he took those guys, their careers. And I look forward to my future, especially now that I'm a Paul Heyman guy and I get to follow in those footsteps. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, look forward to seeing what you're going to do. I mean, you definitely have the talent. I've known that since I watched you on NXT as Michael McGillicuddy, the other name that you were using. Real quick, I mean, I don't mean to bring it up, and I don't want to harp on that, but Michael McGillicuddy, did you come up with that name? Who came up with that? Who said you're going to be Michael McGillicuddy?
That would be the last name I could ever think of in this world to give anybody is Michael McGillicuddy. No, that got given. That was handed to me when I started that NXT show. I thought it was a joke at first, but it turned out that it wasn't. It was a real life thing that I had to try to deal with, and I think it was for the better. You know, like I didn't have to pay homage to my lineage, which helped me try to make a name for myself without having to use that, right? So I think I did a good job. I turned some heads here in the company. I turned some heads here in the WWE universe, and they gave me an opportunity now to use my lineage and talk about it, and now it's all coming full turn, and I get to do that now. So it's cool that. Yeah, unfortunately, that was my name for a little bit, and I struggle with it. But, it's in the past, and it's something I can joke about now and laugh about, and now I'm happy. So I'm Paul Heyman guy. I'm Curtis Axel, and I get to represent my family.
You can tell you're a guy that understands the industry because you made it work, and that's how you got to where you are today, in my opinion. Now, IC champion. How special was that? Father's Day, you're subbing in for Fandango, you defeat Wade Barrett and The Miz. You weren't even supposed to be in the match at Payback, and all of a sudden you grabbed the IC title.
Crazy. I mean, talk about unbelievable story of events here. You're right, I wasn't even supposed to be in the match. Fandango unfortunately went down with a concussion injury, and I got placed in the match. And I'll be honest with you, dude, that week leading up to that match at Payback, the thoughts that were going through my head to think that I would be the first father and son combination to ever hold the Intercontinental Champion, a champion that my father made famous, that was going through my head, and the emotions and what would happen if I did win that. And when it did finally happen, it was the first thing I thought of was my dad, and it was a very, very emotional time for me. And I called back home, and my wife and my grandfather my kids, my wife told me that it was complete silence in the room, and there was a lot of emotion going on there. Just because they knew, the impact that made, with our whole family, with my dad having that. Now I get to carry it, and it's cool. It was very, very cool, and now I'm going to try to carry it on, make this title prestigious once again to back where it once was. It's kind of get lost in the shuffle a little bit. So I'm doing my best here to get this title recognized again as one of the most prestigious titles in the WWE.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job with it. And you're talking about, carrying on your father's legacy, your grandfather's legacy. Now, you grew up watching your father. I'm sure you heard stories about your grandfather's days in wrestling, how cool that must have been. I mean, just the knowledge you could sponge up from that. How many other siblings do you have? Do you have about 3? Am I right?
I have 2 younger sisters and a younger brother. So yeah, I'm the oldest, and then my younger brother's 21. So yeah, my sister was actually wrestling for a little bit. She was very, very talented, and then she decided to go a different route, and she wanted a family, and unfortunately she just decided not to do it, which she could have made a great career in my opinion. As a professional wrestler. But yeah, I got 4 of us in the family. So
why do you think, in your opinion, why do you think your other family members didn't decide to do it? What in you? I think you were the one that wore the Mr. Perfect jacket when he got inducted, correct?
Yeah.
Which was
correct,
awesome.
yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I went crazy when you walked out in that, and you looked like him. It was so cool. At that time, I knew that you had some type of respect for wrestling, what your father had done, and how much you must love it. Something that small. So, what made you stick with wrestling and say, "I'm going to do this," and your other siblings might not have?
I think it's just something that I've always wanted to do since I was little. They've never, they've always followed my father and my grandfather's career and stuff like that. But this is something that my father started the year I was born. So I followed my whole life, and I always showed some interest in it. And I think that's what it boils down to, is this is something that I have always wanted to do. They've showed other interests in other things, which is fine. And I don't know if they just, this is not for everybody anyways, this business. So, I just decided to take this path and give it a shot. My dad always said, the worst that can happen, is you don't like it. So I tried it, and this was after he already passed away, but I actually went and tried it, and I knew I was going to like it, and I loved it, and I started busting my ass, and, here I am today.
Yeah, I know you're kicking butt, man. Now, here's the thing I wonder. Your father obviously not being around anymore, but your grandfather's still around. I know he comes from more of an old school style background, but does the Axe call you up every now and then and you watch your stuff and try to give you pointers? You're not doing this right. What is that? What happens with that?
Yes, man. Like you said, he is very, very old school, but I talk to him every week. I fly in every Wednesday to go back home. And on my ride back home, I call him up, just to kind of see what he has to say. And for the most part, it's positive. He really enjoys seeing me, and now especially that I'm Curtis Axel, since his nickname was Larry the Axe. He really, really loves that. So I got to hear about that all the time. But yeah, he critiques my work and what I'm doing, and for the most part, he's loving it. He loves the business so much, and especially to see his grandson follow in not only his footsteps but his son's footsteps. And it makes him proud. And I brought him to the show. We were in Minneapolis about a month ago, and I brought him to the show, and he was like a little kid in the candy store, man. So he loves it, man. He'll love it forever. That's
got to be a good feeling, man. That's got to be so cool. You love your grandfather, and now him, just to see him light up and watch you do what you love to do. That's awesome. Third-generation wrestlers, second, third-generation wrestlers. There's like a couple other third-generation wrestlers on the roster. Orton's one of them. Do you find it easier to relate to them since you kind of all grew up dealing with the same things, or does that not even matter?
No, I think I do actually. I'm like automatic friends with them. Natty Neihart, she's the same. Ted DiBiase, who's one of my really good friends. Cody Rhodes, I get along with great. Randy, he can, the Usos, can relate with all these guys. I'm like, right away I spark a friendship with these guys because we went through the same kind of thing. Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt's one of my best friends up here. I'm actually the godfather of his daughter, so we have an automatic friendship, and because I think it boils down to we all went through this together, and not together, but we all have a similar upbringing. So yeah, we all have common interests and common goals for ourselves. We're quick to understand this business than most guys are.
Yeah, that makes sense. You guys have that strong bond. Now, if you talk about third-generation wrestlers, I have to mention this. A while ago, The Rock tweeted about how you, of all people, this is awesome, helped him get ready for WrestleMania. So as much as you helped The Rock, he must have helped you too. Like, is there any valuable thing that you took from your time with The Rock that you learned?
Oh, man, after we got done training, I'll tell you this, we get done training with him and doing things that he wanted to do just to get his ring rust off and all that kind of stuff. And he would spend time with me and ask me what I did in the ring and what kind of moves I did. And the guy's attention to detail is so amazing to me. Just to sit there and pick his mind. I mean, he's one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time. So to have him take the time to help me and to pick my brain and to figure out what I'm thinking about, I mean, that's amazing to me. You know, I was just down there to help him, but he, in return, helped me. And I did the same. Not only did I do that with with The Rock, but I did it with Brock Lesnar also, you know, and to get him prepared to make his return. And he's got a whole different mindset when it comes to this business, you know. So for me to get in the ring with both those guys and to have them help me, I mean, plus now I have Paul Heyman. I mean, this is great. I'm still learning. I'm only going to get better. So yeah. I got those three guys plus, you know, other people that help me. So I'm having the time of my life right now.
I love the fact that you're not a guy who says, "Oh, I know everything just because my dad and grandfather did it." It seems like you're a sponge, and that's why I truly believe you're going to be a success. I've been a fan of your work since I saw you in NXT. I thought you were just so much fun to watch. I love your one-arm spinning neck breaker. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
You're welcome, dude. Really quick before I let you go, I know you got stuff to do, but I want to talk fantasy football with you. I know you love fantasy football.
Yes.
Now, I know that you own the locker room when it comes to fantasy football. How's your record looking this year so far?
Hey, I'm 4-0 already this season in the WWE Magazine League, so I'm looking pretty dang good. Like me and the Miz have this rivalry. I just actually beat him. I want to make this clear. I beat the Miz. I go on his radio show too, and I talk about this, but I beat him this week.
So you beat the Miz this week, but as far as the worst fantasy football player in the locker room, where you're like, why does this guy even play? He sucks. Who's that? I'm
trying to think. Either the primetime players or Wade Barrett has a pretty awful team. Yeah. So those guys are tied for the two worst.
And then who's nipping at your heels? The Miz?
Miz is always in contention. You know, he's got a solid team this year, and he's always hitting the waiver wire, which I think breeds champions anyways, if you pay attention to that and pick up guys who could explode later on down the road. But, yeah, Miz is always in contention, and other than that, I think Tenzai has a pretty solid team. But
what's your secret, though, man? What's your secret to always be the winner? Do you not ever root for your home team? You don't care? Or what's the deal?
No, I don't tend to. I'm a fantasy football fan. I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, unfortunately, but I tend to just play fantasy football more and pay attention to that more than I do the Vikings. But the secret to my success is which every league that I've won is I pick up guys off the waiver wire that like guys that are sitting there. You just pick them up and they end up being huge on your team, either not right away or later on. A couple of years ago, I picked up RG3 just sitting there, and he ended up being my starter for the whole rest of the year. Like, there's guys sitting out there right now, I bet, that are just lingering around, like Kendall Tompkins guy on New England, and other guys that could, if anyone goes down hurt, this guy's going to pick it right up. So, he's always got to pay attention to the waiver wire. I think that's a success for a winning team.
You sound like one of those dudes who comes on and goes, I got the hot picks, the locks. You can start a whole other business on the side.
Yeah, well, I do a radio show on Sirius FM radio, and I have a little segment called The Perfect Player, where I pick who I think is going to have the highest individual score for that week, and then we sit there and talk about fantasy football and stuff like that. So it's really fun. I really get into it, and I've been doing this for about a decade. So I really enjoy fantasy football.
That's awesome. And hey, before I let you go, I know you guys have a partnership with Susan G. Komen. I saw that the other night on Raw. Any chance you'll be dyeing your beard pink?
You got to keep that one quiet. I don't know if I can go that far. Maybe I'll wear some pink gear or something, like pink wrist tapers. Pink beard. I don't know, man. I guess if they wanted me to, I would, just because I think it'd be hilarious. But I don't know.
As long as you support the cause. You support the cause, but as long as it washes out, you're good with it.
Okay. Yes. We'll meet right there. It's supports the cause, and if it washes out, I'm good.
Curtis Axel. Hey, bro. You really took some time with us today. Appreciate that. But before I let you go, plug your Twitter and stuff, man.
Twitter is @real Curtis Axel. REAL Curtis Axel.
All right. Anything else you'd like to plug, my man?
Hey, man, I'm just looking to come to Philly and beating me up some CM Punk with some kendo sticks and chairs.
Kendo, get him with a shot on those kendo sticks. They hurt, too.
Yeah,
I know they do. Trust me. Curtis Axel, thanks again, man. I really appreciate you visiting with the Social Network, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on. I look forward to coming to Philly.
Look forward to seeing you October 13th. It's a Sunday, 5 o'clock, ComcastTIX.com. Tickets as low as $20, man. The best value in family entertainment. All right, Curtis Axel, go defend that IC title, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again, man.
Oh, thank you, bro. Anytime.